How's it going, coaches? And welcome to another edition of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host for this evening, Coach Simpson, and I'm joined in the studio once again by Coach Finlay. How are you doing today, Jordan?
Evening, Lee. Not too bad. It's good to speak to you again. Lots have been happening over the last few weeks, I think.
Yeah, we've got a lot of scanning to catch up on over the Christmas period. I think 3 or 4 weeks worth. Lots of stuff happening across the league, so maybe we can just jump straight into it. I think you guys know the format by now. We've got our power rankings and then our weekly projections. So let's start off at the bottom of the rankings, and it's the Brisbane Broncos and their bleakly bitter battle. Jordan, do you want to take us away for this team?
Well, I mean, I can't go too hard on this one at the moment, considering I have just lost to Ali this week. But as you say, it's a bit bleak. He's been struggling this entire season. Doesn't look to be making too many changes. I don't know. He's not made any offers to me for big trades to try and get himself out of the gutter. But he's still struggling. He needs to turn it around if he's going to want to try and redeem himself by the end of the season.
Yeah, agreed. I think we've seen him get 2 wins in the past 3 weeks or so. So it's not all doom and gloom, but it's just such a big gap between Ali's team and the rest of the league. I think this season's a write-off. I'd be curious to get him on the show and hear some opinions about what he thinks has gone wrong.
Yeah, that would be good. He'd be a good additive.
But I think.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He did. I think the last time Jack and I did this, it was week 8. And then, so what, we've had 3 weeks since then, is that right?
Yeah.
And so, and so since then, I mean, you are right in saying that he did win 2 out of 3 of those. But still, it's still a bit of a gap.
I mean, if you look down the roster, you have some pretty good players, but I think the depth is just so bad. A lot of these younger guys not performing. And obviously nice to have Demetrius back. Otherwise, no, I don't have a whole lot to say about this team. I think this season's a bit of a write-off for Ali, and I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, Halliburton's been fucking MVP for his team, no doubt. Probably going to be an all-star this year, but I think that's, I mean, not much else to be spoken about with that team. Anthony Edwards maybe gets a note on how well he's been playing. People saying that he's going to be obviously the next big star. So,
I saw something quite funny the other day. I don't know if you've seen this, but Anthony Edwards and Michael Jordan's faces next to each other.
I did get that. I was going to say that comparison, but
yeah,
I don't know if I rate that, to be honest. He's still got a lot to show to be up there with big MJ.
Oh no, but just that they look so much like each other.
What, the comparison of just looks?
Yeah. See if I can bring it up.
Yeah.
Jesus. So the lore is, I think, just Michael Jordan like traveling around, having loads of kids all over the place that no one knows about.
Right, yeah. I mean, could be likely, pass his genes on to some kids. Let's have a look.
I can't remember how to bring up the screen mode. Oh, here we go.
Present, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You see this in the side by side.
All right. I mean,
there's a whole thing of lore around it. I'm not being able to get
there's a theory is there
right now.
Yeah.
I
mean, they do look pretty similar.
Oh, that's
and Jimmy Butler as well. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Or just some 2K video.
Yeah, there's some lore here, okay? So there's
yeah, I get that.
Some genes helping him.
Possibly. They do have the confidence similarity as well there, I would say.
But yeah.
But I mean, just as you mentioned, having Ja Morant back, I would say pretty good additive to Ali's team. I would say that's probably maybe a reason why he's got a couple of wins over the last couple of weeks. Just looking at those numbers, he's what's he averaging? 45 already. So I'm sure Ali's stoked to be picking him up, and he's obviously getting some buckets for the team.
Yeah, I think definitely helping out Ali in a hard time. If you were Coach Garden in this situation, would you be looking to trade? Would you be just trying to write it off? I don't know how I would handle it.
Well, I mean, there's not, with Ja Morant back, that's really the strongest his team can get. I don't see, unless he was to trade a few guys away for a larger star. But as you say, the depth isn't really there. So for him to try and pick and choose what players he's going to get rid of that actually have some value that he could get a big star back, I'm not sure who they are. I think just, I mean, it's worth a try, you know. Can't really go back from where he is at the moment. So yeah, I would definitely try and make some moves and at least get up into mid-table. You know, it would be a bit embarrassing to get beat by the rookie in the league this year, I reckon. So but I mean,
sure.
I think it also comes from Steph Curry maybe averaging only 41 points. It's a bit up and down with him, you know. He does put in like a 71 there, 54, a couple of high 30s, but the other, like, it's sometimes he's only putting in 29 points, and just the other night he put in 8. So I think that's a bit up and down. It's showing that the Warriors are struggling.
A bit of a letdown, I think.
Maybe not bringing the value that I expected with $39 with Steph Curry. Probably was hoping for a bit more out of him, I would say.
Yeah. And maybe the kind of player he could shift just on name value. Maybe
absolutely.
worth more in the trade market than he is on the team.
Putting it up maybe come playoff time or the playoff run coming up to try and get some higher scores.
I mean, I think the Warriors are pretty shit right now. This season's not been great for them. So I don't know. I think they just lost Chris Paul to a broken hand or broken wrist or something.
Oh,
so
really?
maybe that means more minutes for Steph. Not sure how it's going to play out, but
Draymond's back, and Steph does seem to play better when Draymond's on the court, I would say. So
yeah,
but I mean,
it's just not the kind of player I'd want to have on my roster. Just I think these older kind of veteran guys are always a little bit kind of, I don't know, not as appetizing as kind of the younger talents like Tyrese or Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's new blood on the league that's definitely pulling their weight or making a name for themselves.
Exactly. But let's move on.
Okay.
So hard times for Ali. Hope he manages to pick it up, and let's see if we get some moves in place. But that takes us to our next on the power rankings, and it is the Home Harbors, who have heaps of homework. This team, I still stand by, is probably the strongest, most well-rounded team in the league. And it's just down to Coach Maxwell's rookie coaching. I think that's the difference between the top of the table and where they sit just now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. He could definitely be a little bit higher in actually picking up waivers, you know. I'm pretty sure he's just setting the week on a Monday and just leaving it. Also, like you say, doing some homework, leaving certain players out on the bench. Don't know if I've got an example at the moment, but I know there's been some weeks where Maxwell has gone and left. For example, like leaving Kawhi Leonard on the bench multiple times. I think I've seen that over an average player where he definitely could have got some extra points. And I know a few of the weeks that Maxwell's been playing, they've been quite tight. So he could have got a couple more wins under his belt had he known who to play.
Exactly. I think that's the key thing is you see these players. There was one, I think it was Fox, missing like 70-point games sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
I've seen that a few times. So it's definitely something that I'd like to see Coach Maxwell improving on in future seasons as he gets a bit more familiar with the game, a bit more familiar with the players available. But still managing to keep his head above the water, not quite as low as Coach Garden, and still managing to pick up some wins here and there. currently sitting 1 win behind the Torfin Typhons. So it's not all doom and gloom either for the Harbours. I think
No,
there's
I
a
think
lot
he's
to
got
like on the
something to be
roster.
proud of there for sure. He's
Definitely.
got. I mean, it's an interesting one, because it's got such a strong core team that if he was to be picking up waivers, I think he'd be sitting up even a couple spaces higher. So
Yeah. The challenging thing, I guess, with this team is that there's so much depth. Who do you actually end up moving? Like, obviously, Jordan Poole has no space in our league. I think
yeah,
the biggest bust of the
yeah,
draft.
yeah, he
And
needs to.
then that's kind of it. Zubat maybe is another drop candidate, but then that's not really many spaces. So what it
Yeah,
really takes, a more experienced coach would probably be looking for those 2-to-1 trades. Maybe trying to target someone like Tyrese or Anthony Edwards on Ali's team, exploit the fact that Ali's struggling a bit and give him some of these 40 to 45 average players
yeah,
in
yeah.
return for a superstar. And that's the kind of move that frees up some roster space and then gets the ability to do the waivers. But I don't think we'll be seeing that kind of stuff happening this season. I think this is more just Maxwell enjoying the draft and getting his feet wet. What's hopefully more seasons to come.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I guess it was a auto draft that did him well. So having Scotty Barnes in there playing well, Trey Young's obviously actually pulled his finger out a bit. I think he had a bit of a slow start, but he's definitely picked it up this kind of time of the season. And obviously, us giving him Fox back has helped, I think, with those wins. I think if Ali, it's a bit of a swing there, which Ali's probably not very happy about. But I think had we not reinstated Fox onto Maxwell's team, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, Fox was, I think, top 15 player, maybe even top 10 for a significant part of the first half of the season. So just being able to pick that up off the waivers, I think, is maybe too much of a swing to give. Even, I think, looking at what happened with Jack's team getting Sengun, of course, there's some other good players on the roster, but I think Jack hasn't missed a win. Of course, he's lost maybe one out of the two, but he hasn't missed a win since picking up Sengun after starting the season off, losing 4 in a bounce. So
yeah.
I think these like big player acquisitions that you get from the waivers can really affect the league in a negative way. So I think we needed to make sure, just not only for the league's sake, but for Tom's sake, that he wasn't getting shafted from lack of experience. And I think it keeps the integrity of the league, which is important.
It's just a hard pill to swallow for Ali there, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. He wouldn't have been chuffed about that.
Who else are we looking at here then? I reckon I always had high hopes and really liked Bam Adebayo as a player, but been just a bit, just subpar, bit average. Averaging 41 points, 41.9 isn't too bad, but I haven't seen huge scores from him or much chat from him, considering last season and this season before he was like a star. Been much news about him, I would say. Could be something.
Yeah, I don't really have him on my radar either. He's not been coming up as kind of, you get those players on the subreddits and the forums and things like that. I've not really seen any chat about him. Just completely going under the radar, I guess. 41's pretty good. Like 42, really, he's averaging. It's definitely adding to the team, but yeah, just not quite as exciting as you'd want to see for a player with that kind of name value. I think the big ones, obviously, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, just looking at
now
him
that
here.
Harden's left.
Yeah.
Averaging 45.9, picked up for $3. That's crazy.
Bargain. That is.
Absolute bargain.
And just putting down points every night, just like real game points, short, like I don't see one lower than 20, putting down 40-point games is like insane. Really good. With high assists, almost a block a game, Yeah.
I mean, we saw flashes of it last season. I don't think any of us expected him to be this good. Same with Scotty Barnes. I think two guys taking it to the next level.
That's it. How many years has Tyrese Maxey been in? Is this maybe his third year, at least?
I think it's third, yeah.
Maybe older than that. Yeah.
At least last season was his like breakout.
Mm-hmm.
Like Harden went down injured. Let's do some research.
Who else has been good? Banchero, not too bad. LeBron, absolute stud at this age, averaging 50 points, it's insane. Just looking at the last, what is that, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, pretty much averaging 50. 126 there, 126 there, where he only got 12 points, but apart from that, everything else has been extreme.
And do you think he can keep going through the season? It looks like he's got some good motivation with his team doing pretty shit right now.
Yeah,
I think relying on him balling out.
Yeah. Did you see that he'd said that his son could play on the Lakers right now? He said he wouldn't look at place on the Lakers. And somebody was kind of saying, like, this is a bit more of an insult on his teammates than big enough, But I don't know if I believe that, But
the Lakers have been pretty bad, I think.
Yeah, they have been. His poster on PG the other night, though, was banging. It was a good one.
I didn't see that. I saw him telling off some Spanish reporter in the locker room. Did you see that?
No.
It's like some guys obviously got flown out to ask the specific questions about Ricky Rubio retiring.
Oh, yes, I did see that, actually.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't care.
It's like late passive aggressive. That.
He is passive aggressive, though, isn't he?
He's like, Ricky, if you're looking at this just now, I don't want you to think it's anything about you. It's just this interviewer picking a really inappropriate time to ask me this kind of question. Like staring down the reviewer while he's saying it. So unhappy.
So, yeah. But, I mean, back to Maxwell, I think if he is watching, he needs to kind of do a little bit of research if he wants to do any better in this league. I think he might start slipping because players might get, if he loses a couple of players to injury as the season goes on, people getting tired, that's when the waivers will become a lot more important. Ali could start to creep up behind him.
For sure. I think one thing as well that's actually definitely achievable is using the IR spots. I see Darius Garland has just been sitting on the bench with a fractured jaw since the 14th of December.
Oh.
It's almost a month. Not in the IR, just sitting on the bench. And that's a free pickup. That's, an extra 100, 150 points, maybe if you're lucky, throughout the week. So just stuff like that, I think, is pretty fundamental things. I think if Maxwell wanted to, he could make a really good push in the playoffs this season. But we have to see a little bit more commitment to
a bit of a wild card from him.
The game.
Yeah. Okay.
But let's move on. We have our last team in the bottom half, a team that we actually started off the season rating quite highly, and they've just slipped down as it's gone on. It's the Torfin Typhons, who are trundling tepidly. And yeah, it's been a rough kind of period for Coach Parker and his team. Started off really enthusiastically, looked like everything was, taking a new chapter for the coaching career of Mr. Parker. And then, it's fallen apart. And I'm not really entirely sure what's gone wrong, but they're just struggling to put the wins on the board.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's three weeks in a row, is it, that he's lost? Going back, did beat Jack in week 8 when we were chatting. But yeah, the last 3 weeks, he's gone on to lose, handing Ali a win. And then also Maxwell, having getting beat by Maxwell when he's not putting any waivers up. It's a bit of a tough one to take. So, yeah, it's just the last few weeks that it's been a bit of a struggle for him.
Yeah, and I think looking at this team,
it's the reasons behind it, I think.
There is a lot of injuries. I can see Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, Exum, Vucevic, Williams, Zion, Franz Wagner, all either carrying day-to-days or outs. So maybe just the injuries hitting a bit hard. If you look on the research column in this, in the view, gives you the plus minus drop rates.
Yeah,
Almost everybody in this team has a minus drop rate, which is quite funny to see.
He's a
But
red, really.
yeah, so that means obviously the form of the players not doing great. There's also not many 100% or 99.9% roster players in this team,
No.
which kind of speaks to the quality of the players as well that Coach Parker is working with.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, Bogdan being one of those guys with a big drop. In fairness, yeah, Stuart only did pick him up a week ago, so not so bad. But yeah, although surprising actually to say that the last 3 games he has done 39, 20, then another 40. So not the best, not the worst waiver to be holding on to.
I think obviously Anthony Davis, revelation after his few seasons of injuries and inconsistency, he's been kind of carrying Coach Parker, I think, in a big way. 55.9 average points and only $24 spent in auction. He's been so good.
Yeah, he has. And for $24 as well. People weren't trusting him to not get injured. Yeah, good one. That is a good one. I do like Donovan Mitchell as well, averaging 48.4. Continued putting down the buckets there at the Cavs.
He's been sitting in the IR for a while. I wonder how long he's been there.
Who?
Donovan Mitchell, currently in Stuart's IR, was injured in a period from the 21st to the 28th of December. So he must have gone in since then and not come back out. Since then, he's put up 73, 56, 45, 37, and 28.
It's on mine, it's showing Butler and Wagner in the IR.
Oh, really?
Maybe you've clicked back a week previous.
Maybe you've clicked back a week.
I go through the league standings and then click on Stuart's team. And he's got Wagner and buckets in there.
Maybe I was crossed up. Yeah, I see. It's a bit embarrassing.
Sorry,
yeah, fair.
Many times we're calling the team the wrong name. So I mean, I do enjoy Donovan Mitchell. So I'm hoping that Stuart got that 73 pointer and the 56 over the New Year's. Pretty sure he will have done.
And another one is Devin Booker. I think he has potential for those huge, 100-point fantasy nights. He can just score at will. But obviously now competing with Durant a little bit for the ball on the Suns. Definitely. He's still been having a pretty good fantasy season. It seems to be another one of these guys maybe just going under the radar a little bit for how good he's doing. But I also think he's kind of a wiener. I don't really like him.
I do. Wiener is a good point. Yeah, I'm not a fan either, to be honest. I totally appreciate his talent. Totally fine. But to say that he's arguing for the ball, I think Durant's definitely the main man there. Hitting highlights or the headlines, you should say, most of the time. He's just a bit of a stinker, I think.
He is a bit. He has very good positions for fantasy, shooting, point, and small forward, which is quite an interesting combination.
Covers I've got that. I do enjoy that with PG. Paul George has got all those as well. He can fit into any kind of roster spot.
That's nice.
But yeah, I mean, $32 for Devin Booker there maybe isn't the best value for money that is out there.
No, definitely not. I think another bit of a stinker, Drew Holiday, used to be one of the kind of top point guards in fantasy for his defense, steals. He used to rack up and get a shitload of stats. Maybe that was more suited to the category leagues. But he has been very underwhelming. $8, 32 points. That's waiver fodder.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Barrett just into 32 points. It's I think if he didn't have his name behind him, Stuart probably wouldn't be holding on to him that much. Because I don't know if you can see on your larger screen with the computer. I mean, his last highest score was 32 points. Has he had any hires? Has he had any that's kind of 40s, 50s that's worth holding on to him for?
He's had a period over Christmas against the Kings, the Clippers, and the Lakers where he went 60, 50, 50. But then since then, he's gone 27, 17, didn't play, 21, 32, 21.
Yeah.
And before that was 27, 24, 29, 26. So, shite, really. Like, okay, fine, you get that little run. But if you were streaming that spot, you're getting more points.
Which is, I think, why, like as we say, why Stuart's probably held on to him because of that little spurt over Christmas time. But maybe coming into the new year, it might be something that Stuart can look at. Maybe trade him away now whilst he's got high values, and then kind of get some good value for him. Averaging,
would you trade for Drew Holiday?
Well, so it's not like he's short on playing time, you know.
Would you trade for him?
Would I? I don't know. No, there's a lot of talent on the Celtics. I think that's why.
Yeah,
he's maybe getting actual on the court minutes, but just a kind of middle player, just passing the ball on. You know.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think known for his defense on the court more than his scoring ability. So maybe he's just out there locking down the other team, and that doesn't reflect very well in fantasy.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a good real life player, team contributor, but maybe not fantasy value.
Yeah.
Who else are we looking at here then?
I think we could move on unless there's anyone you're up to.
No, not really. Just looking at DeMar DeRozan, but just a bit of an average score, so nothing too much to talk about. I'm just going to grab a charger in a momento. All good. I'm back.
There's a live cast, Jordan.
There's what? Yeah,
it's a live performance.
I know. Okay. Well, who's next then?
Okay. So let's move on to our number 3. It is the Bushy Beavers, who are barely bringing in buckets. So I think in the league just now, we've got 3 different sections. We have Ali, right down at the very bottom, kind of fucked. Then we've got this middle pack where we have the Typhons, we have the Harbors, and unfortunately for you, the Beavers kind of leading that pack, but still closer to the middle than you are to the top. I think the Beavers were in contention for this early part of the season. I think the last time we spoke together, the Beavers were probably 1 win behind, maybe
it was.
Maybe even tied.
Slowly sliding down the rankings here, unfortunately. I would have said, I won't disagree with you. I would say that I was in the top 3rd. Then Stuart and the home Harbors had that middle section, and then Ali at the bottom. But I think I've maybe made the middle pack a 3-horse race now, and left kind of you and Jack are taking strides into the lead.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to catch up. You're 5 wins behind. Which is a long way. Obviously, we get two wins. Yeah, we do get 2 wins per matchup.
So really,
we are past the halfway point in the season. So you need one of us to absolutely capitulate. Yeah, I've moved the season back for playoffs, so we don't get stinky playoffs.
True. Okay.
I think that was a complaint last year. But yeah, let's take a look at the Beavers, because interestingly, although you're sitting in 3rd, you're actually the 4th highest scoring team. And it's not by very much. Coach Maxwell, who's barely been playing the game, in all fairness, is only 100 points behind you on the board.
Okay.
So actually one of the worst performing teams in terms of points for in the league. And I think that can maybe come down to the abundance of the same team players on the roster, given those big swings.
Again, I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, I get that. Maybe I'm not quite seeing that day to day because I just put on the bench who I've got, and then tends to be when it's like everybody's playing and you've got to try and choose the right ones. It seems the same for everybody. But on other nights, I've maybe got 4 players, whereas other people do have 8, So
And
it's
it can
those.
go the other way as well, right? When your teams are playing those extra games in those weeks, then those are the weeks that you're able to dominate,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
you do get the wins, and that's
I
probably
do get the
why.
wins. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. So that's probably why that my average is 50-50 exactly. So I get that. It's hard though to try and make some changes. Jack was almost giving me a lesson last week. I don't know if you saw, where he was just saying you need to not hold any heart to any players and just get rid of them. Don't just don't think, oh, they might
yes,
do this, they might do that, and just get rid of them.
I think this has been the Jordan fantasy strategy throughout the years. There's a lot of personal and emotional investment in the roster. I think I'm definitely familiar with that attitude due to trying to negotiate trades.
That's
It
right.
can be
Yeah.
difficult to convince you to peel away from some of your players. That's for sure.
But yeah, I
But
mean, the last
definitely,
few. What? Sorry.
I was just going to say, definitely good players on the team. I think it is just a matter of the composition. Too many Nuggets, too many Clippers.
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
just comes
I
down to
mean,
that.
there's been a little bit of thought up going into it, but I just don't know who I would want to get rid of or looking at value. I need to spend a little bit of time looking at other teams um, and see what kind of players that I think would add value to my team, especially kind of looking at just dates and when people are playing. Um,
I mean, I
like
think the
maybe Steph
without
Curry.
even making any trades, without even thinking about making any trades, you have Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Russell Westbrook. All of these guys are waiver wire material.
Mm, Westbrook, I think again, just
Um,
holding on to that name. Don't know why I'm doing it.
he started off the
Um,
season really good. Then when Harden came back to the game or to the team, I think Westbrook took a bench role, minutes severely reduced, and yeah, look,
yeah,
I mean, he's averaging 27.3. I bet if
yeah,
I make that over the
it's shy.
past 15 games, 26.7, last 30, 25.4, and the last 7, 20. So he's getting picked up in stats by this start to the season, but otherwise he's got no place on your team really.
True. Yeah. I mean, I have noticed that. Been considering it. It's just because he's got those nights where he can go off. He gets the high assists, steals. But yes, he's definitely been keeping it. I've been looking at that. Another one, Michael Porter Jr. Always think about go to drop him, and then he'll put down a nice score. Um, and just kind of
Yeah.
steady. you know. But yeah, appreciate that as well. Aaron Gordon's recovered from his dog bite, which is pretty savage.
Yeah.
But again, does the same. I go to drop him and think, is he worth just chucking? But then goes to put down a nice 50-point or something like that. So I
You can
kind of,
get guys from the waivers that do that as well. Like it's
I've,
not like
I've
they
been finding
don't
the
put in
waivers
the
a
big
little bit
points.
scarce sometimes. I'm finding it difficult to choose that right person.
I mean,
Um,
recently I think you have the Raptors trade that happened. So you have Hartenstein is now popping off. I think Ali managed to swipe him up. He's been super good. We didn't really talk about that when we were talking about Ali's team, but we can maybe do a quick waiver analysis there. I think he was like popping off for like 40s, 30s, 50s. Let me see if I can bring him up.
okay. Yeah.
This is just a recent acquisition as well. So yeah, Hartenstein picked up on the 5th and since then has hopped off for a 53 and a 45. Before the pickup, 49, 44, and I think 36, and that's after the trade. So
Yeah, not
that's a
bad at all.
pretty engaging waiver pickup. And then you also have, I think, on my team, a lot of the guys that have stayed on my team have been waiver pickups. Guys like Derek White, got him from the waivers. Miles Bridges, Chris Middleton. I picked up Poetel after the trade has gone through. He's been pretty good. Quickly holding out for some value on him. He's gone 32, 43, 34, 37 since the trade. Poetel has gone 36, 37, 34, 32. So, like, I think you just need to be opportunistic with the waivers. There won't be someone the morning you go and look, but if you monitor guys and then you're quite ruthless about it, you can definitely find
Honestly,
value
yeah, I will. I mean, I
throughout the
haven't been
season.
putting too much research into it over Christmas, been away, and then just other things, to be honest. But yeah, I think if I want to be in the playoffs this year, I'll need to put in the time,
Yeah, and there's still plenty of time left to kind of sculpt out the team, so I wouldn't be too worried.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely a lot of players that I am happy with. Jarrett Allen being one of them. He's been real good for me, averaging 36 points there. But I mean, I think if you were to put that over the last 15, it's probably a lot better than that.
Yeah, last 15, 54.2.
Yeah, it's been good. Who else? Jokic obviously just carrying me through a lot of stuff. Jamal Murray's also putting up some points. James Harden, been really good. A little bit frustrating with Joel Embiid. He has been good, but just I feel like he's been injured a lot recently, missing games here and there. He went and missed three last week, and then didn't play last night either. So
yeah, he's missed a load of games recently.
Mm-hmm.
That's worrying.
A bit frustrating, yeah, because we know that could, because I go for the stars and scrubs tactic. If I lose a star, then it's kind of all over. So that's maybe why I think over the last couple of weeks I've not been pulling it or winning. So that's all I want. Still missing out on old mate fucking LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, he's cooked. I can't see him.
Let me have a quick look. You what?
What was that?
Let me have a quick look. What did you say? You can't see him?
He's
been shite. So he was a full participant during Sunday's practice and did some 5-on-5 scrimmage. So he's back to full contact, which is good news. That was only an hour ago, actually. So apart from that, we hadn't had any update in 11 days. So that's really good to hear, actually. Ball last played for the Hornets on November 26th, but he's been ramping up his activity as in the final stage of his rehabilitation. So
that's pretty
hopefully
deep. The only thing here, you have you have handcuff players. And you've been enjoying the production of Scary Terry.
Yeah.
So he's been really, really good in the absence of LaMelo.
He has.
Like really, really good. And I think, once LaMelo comes back, that's pretty much his value gone.
Well, I don't know, because he was still doing all right at the start of the season. But maybe if somebody's not watching this podcast, we'll maybe try and shift him off quickly, knowing that LaMelo Ball is coming back in a couple of weeks. We'll see if Valley is interested in some value there, or somebody else. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I mean, just a few. I mean, I'm happy that I picked up Gafford. He's been good, but has tailed off a little bit. He had a bit of a peak. Same with Sexton. His has gone off just a tad. And I've had a few, there's not been like a really good waiver pickup that I've been really happy with, like Malik Beasley and Obi Toppin, hoping that they would have been better, but weren't. So
yeah, these guys need rotated away. It's no wonder you've been losing over the Christmas period with these guys on your roster.
Yeah. Just sitting
Malik, 2, 12, 11, 20, 20. When did you pick him up? On the 4th, that's not so bad.
There was
that's a long time to be.
There was a certain one
He's played 3 games for you and got fucking 23 points.
Yeah.
25 points. That's so bad.
I've been gone. Yeah, it's again, just haven't dropped him. And then when he comes into play, I'm thinking, well, there's no point in dropping him if he's going to play tonight. I'll just drop somebody else and pick somebody else up. But I think maybe a full switcheroo would be the better way to do it,
Yeah, I think so.
Let's have a look though. But yeah, it's not ideal. Oh, Stuart's wrangled in there, really. Yeah, I mean, things to be moved. I won't argue with the position that I'm in. Just hoping this week I can get a win over Maxwell, keep myself above him.
Yeah, I think just need to make some moves and maybe sort out the situation with your overstacked players, and then should be prime for the playoffs. Definitely
Yes.
not a total worry. I think the team started off the season quite well, and
Yeah, not too
definitely
bad.
still one to keep an eye on. So let's move on then to our second place, and I think it's quite clear based on the outcome of last week that it's the Christoph Column Crossers who continue conquering. So Jack's team, incredible form, haven't gone winless since the second week of the season, I think. Just on an absolute tear. Jack obviously putting in the work, and big news was the trade alert that went through shortly before New Year, where we saw Jalen Brunson and Jalen Williams arriving on Jack's team in return for the underperforming Jason Tatum. Do you have any comments about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it, but I haven't actually paid all too much attention. Let me have a quick look. It was you guys obviously were the ones with the trade. Let me scan back and see. I mean, I don't have much to say. Can you repeat who the players were?
So we had Jalen Williams from OKC and Jalen Brunson from the Knicks, and they were traded for Jason Tatum.
Okay, I see. And what was the reasoning for getting rid of Tatum?
I think Jack was just annoyed. He's been underperforming his draft position quite aggressively. I think he paid like $40-$50 for him, and he's putting up like 45 points.
Yeah,
He's
right.
averaging not much more than Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. And how has he been since you picked him up? He looks, or traded for him, he looks like he's doing all right there.
Yeah, I've been pretty happy with him, to be honest. He's
Yeah. What was your reasoning? Just again a 2-for-1, giving yourself another waiver spot, or?
I had already had Shai and Chet from OKC, and Jalen Williams I'd picked up off the waivers just that he'd started to pop off. So I kind of wanted him off the roster, and then thought I could maybe just bump up a little bit. And I don't really like Jalen Brunson. I don't know much about his game, so
Right.
I figured his points are pretty good. I had Jason Tatum last year. I think he typically pops off towards the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So I was trying to cash in on Jack's disappointment with $51 spent and only averaging 46.7. So since the trade, which was the 28th, he's gone 64, didn't play 45, 54, 59, 70, which is pretty good. But Jalen Brunson has also been very good. So since the trade, he's gone 34, 34, 36, then 60, 50, 54. And Jalen Williams has gone.
That's really the kicker here. Has he got his value?
62, 41, 27, 34, 52, 39. So I think it's pretty fair, all things said, and maybe just fun to shuffle it around a little bit.
Yeah, not too bad.
I think it'll probably end up benefiting me towards the second half of the season, but it just all depends.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, to be fair.
We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Oh, well, at least we're getting one trade in. Maybe look at others later on in the season. I think it's pretty futile trying to offer Maxwell any trades, so I think it'll be stick as is with his team.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be taken. I think the real trade candidates this year, you're looking at Ali probably. Needs to have some movement. Maybe he can be convinced to make a trade. And then I would say probably your team is another one that's maybe in need of shuffling things up. I can't imagine Stuart's going to be doing much trading. Jack's active, but maybe needs to settle in with the trade he's already done. And I don't think I'm really, although I'd offer trades, I don't think I'm going to be receiving any offers that I'm going to be willing to take. It would have to be one that I'm making.
Okay. So who started? Did you propose the trade?
Yeah, I proposed to Jack. I'd been niggling away for Tatum for ages. And I think he just caved eventually. There was an offer, I think, straight up for Lillard for Tatum. But I don't think he fancied that.
No.
It's hard to get people to trade.
Well, we'll talk about that next time, actually.
Let's jump into Jack's team. So we have a bunch of top performers. And I think the strategy really has just been paying off with paying attention to the waivers, being really active. Jack's team, I think the second highest scoring team, about 100 or 1,000 points. I can't remember what the order of magnitude was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about 1,000 points behind the Bullets, which is not too far away at all. I think a really strong strategy from Coach Forbes this year. Obviously going stars and scrubs as well, but when you mix that with the aggressive waivers and attentiveness to the league, I think it's hard to go wrong, really. And his stars are delivering day in, day out, picking up Sengun. We discussed briefly earlier as well, a huge boost to the team. I think definitely something to look at as the turning point for the Fortunes, but it's not like it's just handed it to him. I think a lot of hard work and dedication is kind of compounded and put this team in the
Yeah, I
position
would
they're in.
agree. Yeah, I would say Jack's been playing this pretty well this season, and definitely getting the waiver pickups at the right times. There's been a few times I'll go in and try and do it early morning and see that Jack's already had his pick of the choosing out of the waivers. So, yeah, he's been pretty good. A few noticeable players. I think Spicy P has definitely upped his game since we spoke earlier in the season and mentioned him. I kind of thought that was a bit of a bust from him, but I guess if there's been a bit of a movement around with the Raptors, so he's obviously benefited from that.
Yep, I think also talks of him getting traded. He almost went to the Kings, I think, and it fell through.
And he didn't want to, so he's trying to up his game a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the gossip is, but I know that there was definitely talks of him going to the Kings, and then it's fallen through for one reason or another. But I think on the trade block for the Raptors, who are still shuffling things around, so it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he could go to a new team and keep this kind of form going. Maybe he's just playing to get that trade to a higher market team or a better playoff place team. So who knows?
I mean, we can't go through this team without mentioning Luka Doncic.
Maybe we can.
Or not even say his name. He's been unreal. Not even a whiff of Kyrie this season. I think it's all Luka. So I'm sure he's probably been worth the money. $52 Jack paid for him, but averaging 61.5, highest in his team.
If you compare that to Jason Tatum, bought for the same price, and just look at the difference in the return.
Yes,
Doncic has been insane. On the Boxing Day game, almost 120 fantasy points, and then followed it up with the 64. Just, exactly what you want out of a fantasy player, really. Just putting up stats everywhere, right across the sheet. You can always count on him. I don't think he really puts up stinky games. He maybe misses a few games here and there.
No.
But otherwise, he's just very consistent at delivering the points.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, across the last 15 games, we have Giannis, who's averaging 70 points over 15. I think a slower start to the season as well, trying to figure things out with Damian Lillard. But looks like he's fitting in a little bit more and finding some rhythm. Huge numbers in January.
I think it's kind of the Bucks are struggling, and so Giannis is almost just trying to carry the team through to make sure they get that playoff spot, not let it slip. And then he's taken it upon himself to make sure they get the wins when they can. So I think that's why it is.
I think we need to look out for a huge Giannis game tonight. Lillard's sitting out due to personal reasons, so Giannis free reign to pop off.
Yeah, maybe another 40-point game from him.
Yeah, possibly. Oh, I've got doorbell action.
No worries. This is a live stream here.
I don't even know who the fuck this is. Just some old man trying to get into my dorm.
Just letting him in.
Yeah.
Averaging 70 points. That is pretty ridiculous, actually. Another one I was going to mention is that Klay Thompson, I held on to him for so long, being so shit. Jack's picked him up early January, and he's gone to put in kind of 45, 35, 37, getting back to his old ways a little bit, putting in like 25-point games. So it's a little bit frustrating to see that. averaging three threes a game.
I think he's probably still going to burn out, though. I can't see him keeping this going. He's past it a little bit.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think, obviously a good guy to get off the waivers and ride him while he's hot, but this is definitely, I think this is his ceiling.
Yeah, right.
I don't think he's going to improve past this. I think it's more likely that he's going to drop back down, to be honest.
Yeah, just looking again at some of the research, just consider what you said when most of Stuart's team was a negative, plus or minus. Jack's is kind of 50-50, not too far off. If it is a minus, it's only kind of 0.4, 0.8, something like that. Mike Conley being the biggest with 1.4, so that's not too bad. But he's been a bit sporadic, averaging 30 points. When did he pick him up? 26. Picked him up on Boxing Day, so I'm probably sure that Jack might drop him soon for higher value in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I think some stink as well. D'Angelo Russell, drafted by Jack. He's kept him on the roster this whole time. After the kind of speech he was giving you about not holding on to players, 31.9. Is it worth holding on to him? I don't know. I don't think I rate what he's been doing this season.
No. And then again, I guess with the Lakers struggling, they're playing a lot of players, trying to see who the best or the best starting five is. I think he's taken a hit from that, Jack's also got Austin Reeves in there, had a good few games recently. I think he's been getting the start instead at shooting guard. So
did D'Angelo Russell start with the Lakers and then move Timberwolves, Golden State, and then back to Lakers?
Yeah, well, he was a Laker back a few years ago when it was like the young team. What's his name? Kuzma, and that played there.
Yeah.
And then
Kyle
moved
Kuzma.
away. And then now he's back, I think. Yeah.
I didn't know he'd gone back to the Lakers.
Just like living in LA.
And it was Golden State he was in last season when he had quite a good season, right?
Yeah. But I don't know why that trade. Why he went back. I mean, he's kind of he's a middle ground guy that obviously is proven himself in past years, and it's a bit of almost like a depth roster spot for some teams in the league. Experience,
Oh, it was part of the Westbrook trade. So Westbrook went to the Jazz, Russell went to the Lakers, and he went from the Timberwolves. So he must have been Golden State, then Timberwolves, then fuck knows. NBA trades are so confusing.
Lots of trades, yeah, I know, and it's through three players and all from different teams. It's hard to make sense of it.
Yeah, but anyway, D'Angelo Russell, stink season. That was my point. Before we got sidetracked.
We can move into number one.
Yeah, let's go into number one. I think the leading team on points, the leading team on wins, and the leading team on pedigree. It's the Brugge Bullets building basketball brilliance as we take the top spot once again after beating Jack in the last matchup. It's been up and down, I think, for the Bullets. Not as consistent as Coach Forbes' team. But one thing that we are doing consistently is putting points on the board. And that's why I put my team at the top. If you look at the scoreboard, I think almost 1,000 points ahead.
How many losses have you had in total? It's not 6, is it? Or is it 3 and then each time you've been in the bottom end?
What do you mean? Like actually lost the matchup?
Yeah.
I think probably more than that. I think I've had a fair few times losing the matchup, but still getting in the top half for score.
Right, yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure what the stats are or what the breakdown is. What I do know is that last week against Stuart, sorry, not last week, but the matchup against Stuart over December was the highest points total scored by any team this season by a sizable amount when we put up almost 2,500 points on the week.
Yeah, right. I see that.
but
Yeah,
I
and
don't know what the splits are.
2,456 from you. Do we know what the highest ever is so far this year?
That is the highest ever this
Yeah,
year,
probably. Yeah, pretty
or
happy
this
with
season, sorry,
for the season. Yeah.
by a sizable amount. I don't know what the all-time is. It's probably around 2.3 to 2.6. I think anything
I think
beyond
we
that
had
would
some
be
big ones
crazy.
last year as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but 2.4 is, I think, this closest thing to that is a 2.2, which I think was also the Bullets.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
I think
the
that
week
my
that
team's
with
just good at
Stuart
scoring.
there, the week that you played Stuart, you had Shy putting down 257 points, KD 242, Cunningham 201. So having three players above 200 is pretty amazing.
Yeah, just really, really lucky, I guess, that they all had good games over that period. But I think the strategy in the draft this year a little bit different to usual, and I think it's paid off. I've ended up with a lot more stars than I think I would have if I had gone stars and scrubs somehow. Similar to what happened with Tom, because there were so many players in the draft going for these high value top end guys. I think it just left some guys slipped through the cracks, like getting Shy for $30, just huge. Durant obviously has been massive, and then some kind of less caliber guys, but still in that top tier. So having Lillard, Kyrie, managing to pick up Wemby and Chet, like there's just I think a lot of good value managed to get onto this team, and then some luck on the waivers and just some luck with the right players popping off, and it's been a good combination so far. I think so we're doing quite well.
Yeah. You enjoying it so much that you would change? Anybody that you're a bit disappointed with?
Disappointed, I think, with Lillard. Disappointed with Towns.
Towns is always shite.
Disappointed with Claxton. Well, I knew Towns was going to be bad.
How funny was
I
that
kind
thing
of thought,
that he changes his voice? How funny is that?
I know that's fucking weak.
I was creasing
That
at
is
that
so
video.
yeah, that is so good. But I thought he would, he was really good when he came into the league, and then he was injured, I think, the past 2 seasons, and I thought he'd maybe come back. And obviously, he's playing with Rudy Gobert, so he's not going to have like crazy stats. But I thought he'd be at least getting to like 40. All my centers, I wanted to go for guards and like attacking players with my money, and then I thought there's a lot more depth at the center in the league. And it seems like all my centers are kind of underwhelming compared to what I expected. Like Claxton was really good last year.
Yeah.
Like he's been kind of shit.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson Jr. was really good last year. He's been kind of iffy. He's been pretty good the like past couple of games, but he's been shite in spells as well.
36, yeah, true. I see that. Yeah, he's probably got a good PR 7 or 15, but yeah, only averaging 36 over the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just picked up.
And then really,
I see you hoping for a big night out of Drummond.
Yeah, I just needed someone to put on the roster, and it was looking kind of slim pickings. So I think Drummond's been putting up some stats recently. Back in December, 76-point game. Yeah, so we'll see what he does. I'm not expecting huge things, but he is playing against the Hornets, and I can't think of any good big rebounders on the Hornets team. So maybe he'll be feasting.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't think of who's on the Hornets that's a rebounding guy.
It's a big guy.
So we'll see.
Desmond Bane, just looking there, not much chat of the Grizzlies really this season. He's been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Desmond Bane started off really good, and then I think with Ja Morant coming back, he's died down a little bit maybe. But yeah, really happy with him. Like having him on my roster. Cade as well. I think the last time we spoke, we were discussing him as a bit of a bust, and since then, I think towards December, the end of December, he was really turning it up to try and break that win streak or loss streak.
Yes, right.
So like 80, 53, 72, 68, 61.
Yeah,
a couple of duds in between that. Yeah.
And did that happen? They got a win, right?
I think they did eventually get a win, yeah. I think they managed to avoid getting the worst streak.
I'd
ever.
seen a guy put on a bet for the Pistons not to win a game all season, something like that. And loads of people were saying it was savage, but he's lost that bet.
Yeah, that
Would have been
honestly not a terrible bet. Imagine.
if it goes to be one win, that would be outrageous, you know.
Yeah, he'd be raging at that. I think just talking about guys in the team as well, we briefly mentioned Kyrie not doing so good, but he's actually been hot since he's been injured for a long time. Just came back on the second, and since then he's gone 32, 58, 62, 74.
Yeah.
So really happy to have him back, although I don't like him. I was saying earlier I'm not interested in trades, but I definitely trade Durant and Kyrie for the right offer because I just don't like them.
Interesting.
Obviously they're good at getting stats up, but not the kind of guys that I want on my team.
I see.
Yeah, so I think that's really all there is to say. I think just happy with the draft. Obviously, Chet Holmgren has been an absolute star. Wembanyama has been just like way, I guess, what was expected for his first season. He's just been so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shai has kind of been carrying me, just unbelievable night after night. He's cooled off a little bit in January, but just before that in December, he's gone a streak of 70, 77, 72, 62, 66.
Yeah.
Just like crazy stats.
Yeah.
Like Jokic and Embiid level numbers.
Yeah.
Which,
mad.
Yeah. Beyond what even this incredible breakout last year was. He's been so good. And the Thunder have been so good as well, which I'm stoked about.
Well, is he still on for MVP Rookie of the Season, is he? Maybe
Who? Shai?
No, sorry, Chet.
Yeah, it's between Chet and Wemby, and I think either of them could take it. I think if OKC managed to get a good kind of playoff position, I think it's probably up to Chet to get it, really, because he's been really, really, really good and kind of carrying a winning team.
Spurs have still been a bit shy.
The Spurs are garbage, and hopefully they kind of figure out how to play a bit better and get Wembanyama a little bit more involved in the game, and then maybe
what their
stats will go up a little bit.
Their ratio is.
They're really, really shit.
Yeah. Okay, well, good. I think you deserve to be at the top there. And it'll be interesting to see how the weeks come. Hopefully, with the coming week, we'll do the predictions now on this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm actually quite nervous going into this one with Ali because I've had a few big weeks in a row, and I'm expecting that means that my team's maybe going to start to ebb down a little bit and maybe catch Ali as he's found a bit of form.
Yeah.
Looking at the matchup, the number of games I think is quite close as well. And I'm missing, I think, a few players. I'm missing Lillard, potentially also missing Jason Tatum. So, and Cade, I think, got a non-contact injury last night. So he's sitting day-to-day just now, but I have a feeling he's going to be out for a while because I think it was his old injured knee.
Okay.
He just pulled up during the game. So I think we'll probably be missing him. So it'll be an interesting one. I'm still going to put the Bullets, but I am nervous going into it. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think top versus bottom. I think even with a few injuries, I think you might be able to pull it out for sure.
Fingers crossed. Then we have Jack against Stuart. I think this is really Jack's to win. Stuart's team not been performing too hot. I think lots of injuries, and it looks like I think Jack is probably better off on games as well going into it. So
yeah. When these two match up, though, it always seems to be a good one. You know, I think it gets a bit more out of Stuart in terms of waiver pickups playing Jack, and obviously Jack knowing what he's doing this year. I think he'll be on it, maybe taking the 8 for 8 waiver pickups. So I think this might be a tight one. But I think, I can see Jack continuing his winning streak as well.
I mean, I'd love for Stuart to take it. I think it's about time Jack lost both points in 1 week. That would be huge for my title hopes. So fingers crossed, but I just can't see it happening, the kind of form that Jack's in just now.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then we go to the Beavers against the Harbours. A must win for you really, if you want
Definitely.
to
I would
kind of
say I'm in the
climb
same
back.
situation as you, a little bit nervous about it. Annoyingly, actually, what I did last week is nobody picked up on is missed a lineup on the Monday.
I seen that.
But I mean, having come to the end of the week, it didn't make a difference. I still would have been about 100 points behind. But this week, I'm just going to obviously make sure not to do that. Be on the waivers. I'm hoping to keep that spot above Maxwell.
Yep.
Well, not that it
I
was.
mean, Tom's team, they can turn it up and they can take it without even really trying to. They can sleepwalk to a
Yeah,
victory.
I know.
So it is quite scary. I think I've been beat twice by Tom.
Yeah, Maxwell
It's
doesn't
always
know what he's
nervous.
got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping to put myself into the winning category, but I'm still a bit nervous with it.
Yeah. I'd be
What do
nervous
you
too.
think?
I
Is it
think
worth doing
this
maybe the
must
week
be.
after, since we've been doing it bi-weekly, or should we just do the 1 week?
I'm gonna get crossed up trying to find it, but yeah, we can go
Week
1 week
13?
ahead. So 13 is me against Tom.
Mm,
I hope I win that one. The thing is, I don't really know what the schedules look like, so it's harder to
yeah.
say. Then we
So
have the
that's
Beavers against
you
the
with the two
Typhons.
underdogs in a row in weeks.
Yeah,
Hopefully
that's
there's
a
no
good schedule
upsets.
for me. Then we have the Beavers against the Typhons. I think surely you can take that one,
I
and
hope
then
so.
Jack should be taking Ali. What do you reckon?
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, if I can take a win this week and then you and Jack take wins, then hopefully I can go into the leading pack as opposed to being in the middle tier. So it's the next coming couple of weeks, I think, is the big one.
Yeah.
Considering then we go into, and it's only 20 weeks, finishing up around mid-March. So yeah, there's not loads of time left, as you say.
Yeah, it's over before you know it, really.
Yeah.
We're in what? Matchup 11 just now, matchup 12. And then, yeah, it's not far away. We're just past halfway.
Yeah. It comes around
Cool.
quickly. Okay.
Well, I think that'll do us for today. Thank you, Jordan, for joining. And thank you guys if you tuned in to listen to another episode of the Weekly Roundup. That's all from me, and I'll hand you over to Coach Finlay to take us away.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, thanks, Louis. Obviously, good to chat to you. I think we got a good bit of detail in each team there this week. So everybody just wants to keep on it. Good luck with the coming weeks, and maybe have one of you boys on in the next couple of weeks to give us your opinions. All right, thanks very much. See you. Oh, you're leaving me hanging here for a bit longer.